John Gotti received an enormous amount of mail while he was locked up. I know. I was a guard at the Supermax Level 6, USP Marion, where I retired after 23 years of service there. I worked in Dog Unit one quarter when John Gotti, the Teflon Don or the Dapper Don, was assigned to that unit. As the number 3 officer, I did most of the running around the unit, doing things like feeding, passing out meals, mail, ice, and tea. I had one of the first women guards assigned as my number 2, and to my knowledge, she was the first or one of the first black women to work at USP Marion as a guard. She liked to read John Gotti's incoming mail. That was kind of her hobby. And she would give me the highlights of some of the more amusing stuff, like the guy who sent in the job application to the Mafia, listing his crimes both prosecuted and unprosecuted. Somebody sent a copy of the application to the police chief. Wonder who that was. And of his town. I hope it cleared up some unsolved crimes. A woman used to send in pictures of herself naked with just her hands covering up all the good pieces. I read some of her letters, and she complained that he never wrote back to her. When the lady number 2 was not there, I'd read the letters myself. I can tell you that he had some real outpouring of love and affection from ordinary people. Many people wanted him to know that they just wished him well and wanted him released. There's a few that wanted some money and favors, and some sent his money. I saw the receipts in the mailroom that they put in the letters. The volume of mail Gotti received was enormous. He got as much mail as the whole cell block by himself. That was mostly full army bag. He'd not read most of it, but he sorted through it, and he got the mail from his family and people that he knew. And the rest of the mail he just gave to other inmates on his side of the cell block. He wrote almost exclusively to his family and friends, but every now and then he did send a letter to a stranger who wrote him. I have no idea why he would write to these strangers, but I did notice that most of them were children. He never talked to me about his mail or anything personal for that matter. He treated me with respect to my face, but I knew that he considered me a cop and somebody that he had no use for, and that was fine with me. I just wanted to add an addendum to this video. It was made in 2017, and if you're looking at the background there, it's a lake in southern Illinois. But now I'm pretty much full-time in Guyana. So what I wanted to add was recently I was having a conversation on the phone with somebody who lived in New York City. And they had a friend who was in the area and they could overhear our discussion, and John Gotti came up. And pretty much some of the preceding stuff that you heard there. This guy said that things ran better in New York City when it was directed by the mob, and that he was really sorry that Rudy Giuliani and the U.S. Attorney's Office had wiped out the Mafia pretty much, because things in New York City ran a lot better when it was run by the mob. And it was a pretty strange conversation. You know, it's like, from what they were describing New York City, Guyana has the same kind of crime problem. So why would you live in New York City and pay 5 or 10 times the price for everything when you could live in Guyana like I do and pay 20%? So a prison guard's retirement in Guyana can make you live like a king, and in New York City you would be a dirt poor pauper, probably on food stamps. So people were always asking me, well, why do you move to Guyana? Well, because you people in America want the Mafia to return to make things better. And the same discussion that we had, we discussed Donald Trump for a short period of time. And I've always been surprised that Trump, who did a lot of construction, so far you guys have never turned up where he's been involved with the Mafia. And I'm just shocked at a guy who was doing a lot of construction in the 70s and 80s and 90s wasn't somehow, at least peripherally, involved with the Mafia. But apparently not. Or at least it hasn't turned up yet that I've been aware of. But I just thought that was a big joke. You people in America want the Mafia to return. Organized crime, because it runs better than the government that you people elected. Pretty funny.